That's my question.
That's the question.
It says I'm live. It says I'm live.
Ooh,
it's not griefing me today. Okay, so if I go, yeah, everybody, that's working. All right, it says I'm live. Can I click like on this? I can't click like on my own stream. Oh, that's bogus.
I'll be there.
My camera seems a little wobbly today. Oh. So here's the deal, everybody. Even though you're not here, here's the deal for those who are going to be watching this afterward. I would have done something absolutely fabulous today, except brain fart. I couldn't come up with a single garden idea. Howdy, Punky. That and we put the roof on the addition today. Woohoo! So I'm too exhausted to make yet another video, really, because I made a video about that for cleaning up the old house. Howdy, Mio. Ooh, I'll get to watch it properly. You know what that means? I can throw out wrenches today. Wrenches today. Welcome to your wrench. All right. So yeah, just kind of tired and excited, and thought to myself, I could come up with something, or I could skip a video, or you know what? Let's just go live and hang out with a few people, killing time. I'm sure Rev and probably Rob Z and Charles maybe are still going to be going live tonight, a little later on. But for right now, I figure what the heck, you know, hang out with some good people. So anybody want to talk about anything particular, or shall I just babble? As you can tell, Shocks is with me.
Oh, I'll be there in a moment.
Ever laughing at me in the background. Got a lovely capo mousse here. That is very delightful. At the end of the day, so I used to climb up really tall ladders and hang out on people's roofs in the snow to install internet, right? You do things for money that you don't necessarily enjoy. This is one of them. In point of fact, I'm not actually a huge fan of heights. In fact, I'm still rather terrified of heights. Howdy, Sam. So by the end of today's project, I was so ready to get off the roof, and I am so ready for this coffee. And I tell you what, yeah, sitting down feels great. My knees are just, oh, what is it? They say knackered in the UK is beat. They are garbage at this point. Probably couldn't stand back up right now if I wanted to. The whole jello knee. Shocks is up there with me. I'm so proud of my woman. She's banging nails and pounding things and cutting off the edges of the rafters or the runner boards that were, of course, just like an inch too long. And oh, yeah. I was really worried that we didn't have enough tin to put this thing together when I started. But turned out we only needed like a foot of the last piece. It was ridiculous. So we just kind of really doubled up on that. Howdy, Robert. Nice to see you made it. That's Evil Genius, for those of you who are wondering who the heck I'm saying hi to as Robert. Rocky, you made it. Howdy. What kind of peppers do I have growing over here? Pretty much everything that I had growing this summer, because I took them all downstairs, and so far, it's good. I've got one that's got a bit of an aphid problem, Celt Surprise, but it's really not, it's not more than my fish can deal with. So I've got a couple of different variations of ahi penix going. I've got a red demon and two others that were supposed to be red demons, but produced different styles of peppers. I've got the I'm in no rush peach, red, and cream, although one of the reds is starting to finally get a little bit color, a little more on the orange side. But let me see, what else do I have still going down there? I got the Nepalese Belle. I've got the 2016 Sand Dollar. I've got the Yellow Scorpion from 2017 that I thought died like 3 times last winter, so I'll be really curious to see how it does. I got the Matchbox. That's the sketchiest looking pepper out of all of them down there, because it had so many pods on it. It's just sucked so much life to keep those things going. But I've almost got them all off now. Just kind of waiting for them to ripen up. And yeah, I think once those pods are off, it's probably gonna come back to life. Oh, I know I'm forgetting peppers. I got a tomato down there this year. I meant to get the eggplant, but I think it's dead now. Oh, I know I'm forgetting peppers. I got the El Oro de Ecuador down there. Howdy, Babette. Welcome to the chat. Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty sure I'm forgetting peppers, but so far I think I've got like 20 different varieties, counting variations within things that were supposed to be the same strain, like the Ahi Penix or the Red Demons. Because I mean, here's the perfect example. Okay, I brought these up for like comparison, boredom, talking points. This little guy here looks very much like a Kung Pao hybrid, but it is the Red Demon. This is what I was expecting from all of the plants labeled Red Demon. One of the plants beside it gave me this. As you can see, there's not much of a difference, but at the same time, quite a noticeable difference, right? So, yes. Do I count these both as Red Demon peppers? Or do I go, well, this is a Red Demon, this is a question mark. This is what it is. It's a random red pepper, so great. Smells good, but actually it does smell really good. It's a mustache chili. Slug balancing chili. Okay, here's a totally random thing. Howdy, JDS. Let me get you your wrench since this is working today. Anybody out there ever watch Blackadder BBC series? I'd love to hear some feedback on that. Just random, kind of stuff. Punky, considering starting a dungeon garden. Nice. Make your own. Growing in large containers in the basement. Okay, well, I have found that can be somewhat problematic. How warm does your basement stay? Having the dehumidifier down there has made a like 10 to 12 degree difference. So that might help you with that. Beware of drafts, but otherwise, yeah, fly at her. You can tie them up to the rafters. You can get like leather and chains and stuff. I've been thinking about having way too much fun with the dungeon aspect of the garden, especially with Halloween coming up. Punky loved Blackadder. Nice. Evil Genius, long ago. Sweet. Okay. So at least you guys understand that I have my Baldric moments. And at least when I say that, I know somebody out there knows what I'm talking about. So that is comforting because, well, I think that's Rowan Atkinson's best role. And I have an awful lot of Baldric moments. So totally random though, right? Anyway, peppers. That covers the pepper selection down there. Trying to start some peppers. Still haven't decided if that is a Naga Viper that's growing down there or if that is, in fact, a tomato. Next time I'm down in the dungeon, though, I'm going to make my camera zoom because I do think it's a tomato based on like some of the things that are going on with the stem. Other gardeners maybe can confirm or deny what I'm talking about. Have you noticed on pepper seedlings, it's a very smooth stem going up to those first seed leaves, whereas on tomato seedlings, you already sort of get the little furry hairs coming off even before it pops its true leaves. Anybody else, one way or the other on that? Because that is a big part of why I'm thinking it's tomato. Eric, yeah, looked like tomato. Exactly. Corey's Garden, howdy, welcome. Let me throw you your wrench here. Everybody gets a wrench on my channel. Now, don't abuse it because people will kick you out. All right. Eric, hi from Indiana. Indeed. So, Manitoba, middle of Canada, about as prairies as it gets, about as Canadian as it gets, too. Tell you what. It's fun, though. Yeah. Hey, Russ. Welcome. Starting to get a few people in here. Right on. So, yeah, I thought it would be a lot more fun to just kind of sit on my butt and have a chat this evening and see what you guys want to talk about. Maybe do a Q&A type thing because I'm tired and brain dead after throwing the roof up there. And like I said, I'm sketchy with heights. So half of me was focusing on what I'm doing and half of me was focusing on not falling off the roof. My woman loves me. She'd be real disappointed if I fell off this thing and broke my neck. I tell you would. And I bet she's happy to confirm that. So, JDS, what's the solution you used for indoor pests? Goldfish and hope. That's what I'm going with. Oh, Rocky, great video today. Oh, I have missed everything everybody's posted today. What was your video about today, Rocky? Pepper tasting, garden update. I have no idea. Oh, I just know that coffee is tasting good. It's a little late to be drinking coffee, to be honest, but it's Friday. And it's not like I have the kids here to tell me go to bed. So,
Mom.
yeah, well, I got to be up to put them away. Oh, jeepers. So today's the first time I totally overslept my alarm, which is to say my tablet, which I use as an alarm, died in the middle of the night. Chickens were pretty ready to get out of their pen when I woke up at 10 o'clock this morning, I tell you what. What do we got here? Cinnamon on the topsoil for the moss and mold. I will give that a try. Evil, would she be worried once she got done laughing? Probably. Rocky, peppers from Batman. Nice. Okay. Rocky ate a pepper on the fly like a boss, I bet. Mio, found your first aphid this week. Almost cried. I feel your pain, brother. I feel your pain. Squish them as fast as you can. And if that doesn't work, you can always get some goldfish. Mine seem to think they're a fantastic treat. Punky, question. Do you hunt? Do you have any hunting plans? Assuming you're asking me, not currently to the first one, and tons of them to the second one. I do not hunt. My parents that raised me, it's not like they were against it. It's just, I can't really imagine them ever doing it. However, my best friend's dad used to go hunting all the time, and I owe my very existence to him because when I was homeless, I went over there to visit, and he gave me so much meat, and I just spent like 2 days jerkying it up, and I had enough to last me until I found a place, actually. So I will be hunting because that fine gentleman has unfortunately passed on, and I am bound and determined I'm going to take his son, my best friend since high school, out hunting with me and show him it's an activity that he would enjoy if he just let himself embrace it. Guy's a killer shot. He's got all of his dad's equipment. It's just really frustrating. But that's why I've got the crossbow. That's why I've got that 45-pound recurve. That's why I've got the air guns and stuff, practicing stylings. I got to get my pal if I want to get a real gun. But kind of prefer the idea of archery crossbow anyway. It seems a little more sporting. I mean, even a crossbow is a little cheating, but still more sporting than from a mile away with a 50 caliber and a great scope. So yes, lots of plans for hunting. Mio, totally agree with Rocky. They will multiply. There are so many of them. Just kill it. Every time you see it, squishy, squishy, squishy. You ever see kids in the hall? Squishy, squishy. Got betas, I'll feed it to them. Might work. The goldfish, like I say, they seem to really love those aphids. Nice change from salad at this point, though. Jellies. Never had any aphids on my indoor plants, just mealy bugs and fungus gnats. Ooh. Excuse me. I'm not sure if I should tell you that's awesome or not, man. I don't think I've ever had mealy bugs on there. Fungus gnats suck, but I mean, compared to aphids, it's a gray area. I have had so many aphids that they are the last thing I ever want to see again. Archery is fun. Totally agree, Corey. Evil genius, Robert there. Kill it with fire. Yeah, for aphids?
No.
You know, there's the whole scorched earth thing, right? Okay, the aphids are there, going to burn everything and just put it outside and all that stuff. I'm testing the theory that what in fact has been going on is that I have been over-fertilizing all winter long with my plants, and that the excessive amounts of nitrogen are in fact kind of calling the aphids in and fueling their continued attack. So I am basically, I'm only giving the potted plants dehumidifier water at this point. They're getting no fish tank water, no nutrient water, nothing. And so far, this is the smallest aphid infestation I've ever been looking at going into winter gardening. And the plants all look really good. I'd had the initial leaf drop off because they were switching from being out in the sunlight to being under a fluorescent shop light. But otherwise, they're doing great. So, yeah. JDS, does spraying prevent the flowers from setting if the plant is flowering? I suppose it depends on what you're spraying them with and how much pressure it's got. Remember, though, if you are going to spray your plants with anything, after it's done its business, spray them off again with water, or better yet, try and wash the leaves off with water, because they do need to be able to perspire, respiration, you know, that's that oxygen, carbon dioxide exchange thing. And I think one thing that's killed a lot of my plants in the past with trying to kill the aphids was essentially suffocating them because their pores and their leaves were all clogged up with soap and garlic and pepper spray. God, I tried so many things. But yeah, this year I'm only spraying with water, and occasionally that water is going to have a little bit of Epsom salts in there. That is it. That is nothing else going to get sprayed on my leaves because I'm not taking that risk. I'd rather fight the aphids than do more damage to the plant. And actually, that is part of what my plan is for surviving the winter. I was given some advice by Stogie Farts, who also runs a aquaponic channel. Great beard, great pipe, great guy. And he recommended getting some potassium sulfate, I think. I took the time to make sure I put it on my Amazon list right away, so I got the name right then. But basically, it's a 0050 fertilizer. So from what I understand, N is for like straight up kind of bushy growth. P is for like root and fruit growth, and K is like general plant immunity. So if I take a little tiny bit of that 0050 and add it to my water, I should be like basically giving the plants B vitamins. So even if the aphids are attacking them, they'll be stronger and more able to survive those aphid attacks as I get in there and squishy away. So let's see what's going on with the chat here. Yeah, Robert, the infestation last year, brutal. I am so done with aphids. JDS, you're absolutely welcome. Do I watch Gary? I'm not even going to try and pronounce his last name, but yes, I do. And he has got a lot of great videos. I have tried to follow a lot of good advice from the YouTube gardening community. It just doesn't always seem to work for me. Mio, what's the role of the Epsom salt? Magnesium, I think, which helps balance out its intake of calcium. One of the two, they're connected somehow, and if one is off, the other will be off too, so it kind of balances things out. And I think it's also supposed to help with the immune system, and there's a lot of videos, blogs, articles that say that giving them occasional spray with some Epsom salt water is just going to really help them survive pests. So I don't see that as being really hard to clean off because, again, everything else they get sprayed with is going to be just regular water. So it seems like it's a good idea. Robert, wouldn't diatomaceous earth kill the aphids? I've had issues with diatomaceous earth in the past because I've always kind of top watered things. Now, this year, I've got it set up so that I can bottom water so that I won't have that issue with it getting all clumped up because it's moist. But I don't really like having the powder around on all my plants, and it's a breathing issue. If you get it into your lungs, it's really not good for you. So I'm going to try and avoid that as much as I can, even though apparently I need it for the chickens. But that'll be figured out some way that they're not breathing it and I'm not breathing it too. So Corey, Gary is one of the good guys. Exactly. Rocky, John. Yeah, John Kohler, Growing Your Greens. He's got a fabulous channel. I haven't really watched a lot of his stuff lately, but I used to just absorb him. And Praxis, whatever his number series is, Ray there, I love his channel, him and his little dog Rascal there. Haven't watched him in a long time either, though. It's just you got to have the time for these guys, and especially those guys, because they are nice, long, kind of sit down, have a cup of tea, watch an episode of something kind of episodes. And I generally just don't have that kind of time these days. I used to have a lot more time. But yeah, speaking of time, guys, you know what? It's been darn near 20 minutes, and I am almost out of coffee. Just kind of wondered what we should chat about next, and I should probably sit up straight because my posture is sucking just a little bit.
You've been on a roof all day. Go easy on yourself.
Yeah, see, she loves me so much. I can't say his last name too. I hear you there. JF Martin. Hey, welcome, JF. Let me give you your wrench. Everybody gets a wrench around here. Used to watch Praxis a lot, but since a while he's only doing those storytime vids and meh, not really my cup of tea. See, there's that too, right?
People grow.
Yeah, people change. Everybody's got their whole thing. And his journey from where he started as such Ray, if you see this, forgive me for the definition, stress bag individual, and the life that he was living, and then how he changed gears has very much inspired me to do my own thing, because listening to his stories over the years that I have been watching Praxis Ray there is just, I empathize with him. Fast life is just too much for some people, and over the number after enough years, you just like, I have to step away from this. The stress from this is killing me. So I go from fifth to first and may throw the engine out of my car, but you know what? I like this speed a lot better. So cool. And I relate to Ray on that level, and I like him on that way. But evil. So did that one white hen ever come outside? Yes, they all come outside now. She has gotten over her little issue that way. Now I just got to teach the ladies that a perch is more than just something you look at. But Jelly, as you mentioned tea, what's your favorite? Really all depends on what time of day.
Oh man, how much time do you got?
Yeah, how much time do you have? We have a whole cupboard for teas. If I had to say this is the only tea that I will ever have again for the rest of my life, I will take Earl Grey. Followed closely by a Tetley Cleanse, which is a very nice sort of herbal, caffeine-free alternative. It's my evening tea.
I thought that was going to be your first pick.
Not quite a sleepy time. If I had to pick one, I would take the Earl Grey, because I need to pick me up more than I need to put me down. I can get tired and fall asleep that way. It's waking up that's a trick for me.
The long shed a bit more for the chickens.
Hey?
Mia wants to know if we are insulating the long shed a bit more.
Nope. I'm doing everything I can to block the draft, because, draft dodger chickens and all that. But apparently having a cool breeze going on them, and it makes sense, will basically take away too much of their ability to regulate their own heat. They won't be able to keep themselves warm throughout the night. So need to get rid of any drafts. But otherwise, chickens, many breeds of chickens are able to regulate their own body temperatures to such a point that they can survive our Manitoba temperatures just fine, as long as a few conditions are provided. Adequate ventilation so that we don't have frostbite issues. So the long shed it's ventilated. Need to make sure, food and water obviously are sufficient. Need to make sure they have a little bit more protein in their diet, especially ours right now, because they're building up more feathers. But basically, they should be able to survive. Now, here, of course, is where it all falls down, because I got those chickens from a gentleman who seemed to be producing eggs in a more commercially viable fashion than we are. We are raising them more like homestead hens, because they're half pet, half production worker. Howdy, cemetery. So they are adjusting to that, but I don't know for sure what kind of breeds they are. I suspect the brownie red ones are a typical production red. I suspect the white ones are white leghorns. Leghorn? Foghorn leghorn? I think it's leghorn.
Yeah.
Because locally, they are known to be a very productive egg-laying breed. And so far, these girls are basically, they've given us an egg every day. With one is still shy today, but I think we need to get some calcium in there for them, because one of the first eggs that they laid, she stepped over it and it just kind of ripped in half like a wet paper bag. So that was not good. But yeah, otherwise we're going to see what they do. I don't know if they're heritage breed enough to make it on their own. I refuse to put a heat lamp out there because it's a fire risk and it's a huge power sucker. I have enough problems with the electrical consumption of our furnace. don't want to do it. I want to do an off-grid system for the chickens as best I can. You cannot afford a space heater or anything like that on an off-grid system. It's just not going to happen. And I still have to be able to keep their water in a state of liquid. So I'm looking at a 50-watt fish tank heater there. Already going to be a bit of a pain with the solar panel we've got. So I'm going to have to like charge up the battery from time to time and maybe look into a small wind turbine or something, but we'll figure that out in time. Robert, have you ever tried making a ramp up to the perch? Their lack of feathers may cause getting up there to be harder. Actually, that was going to be one of my projects for today, but I got distracted by our house instead of theirs. So yeah, chicken ladder, I'm going to be doing that. Thinking basically I'm going to design it on a wheelchair access ramp. So they've got a short ramp, a little landing, another short ramp, and then there's their perch, and they can get right across. And then as they feather up, yeah, I think they should be a lot more confident to just kind of hop around. I think they're also just getting used to the idea that their wings can be opened and stretched and they can actually flap and fly around, because watching them in the pen, it looks like this is really new information to them, and they do not have a lot of experience at how these wings things work. So that'll be interesting. Eric, I only do sweet tea. Thanks, my uncle's always giving us weird ass tea when we were kids. You should have seen her kids the first time I gave them iced tea, because I have like Georgia and Ohio kind of roots. So you ask me for a cup of iced tea, I'm going to brew you some good strong black tea. I'm going to put it on the counter. I'm going to throw maybe a couple lemon slices in there. If you're lucky, more likely a squirt of lemon juice. We're going to leave that on the counter for a while, maybe throw in some sugar, maybe throw in some honey. When that hits room temperature, that is your tea. And you should have seen the look on their face. They're typical Canadian kids. You expect iced tea crystals, that super sweet, kind of gritty, iced tea, and they got chilled tea. It's like, what the hell is this? But they've come around. It's all good. Robert, heat lamp on the perch might encourage them to go up there and help when it gets colder. I'm just spitballing. Yeah, I get you, but I ain't putting one out there, man. I'll find other ways. I'll bait them up there with corn if that's what it takes. JF, my guess with the wind you have up there, a wind turbine would make a lot more sense. Yeah, but it's intermittent, and it's hard to justify the current price of a wind turbine for what they can produce and how long they would have to be producing it for to actually cover their costs. The only way it's even remotely justifiable to the math in my brain is power is going to keep going up and your expense is a one-time thing. So long term, it works out, but I'm having a really hard time making myself go, yes, I'm going to buy a wind turbine today, because that is a solid investment. Because they always go down in price. I was looking at a crappy tire flyer today, and for what we paid for the 20-watt panel that we still have yet to plug in anything, and I'm going to be using in the off-grid system, see how this all kind of ties in, you could get a 50-watt panel with a charge controller, which incidentally is why I have not yet plugged in the 20-watt panel, because I never got around to getting a charge controller when we lived within walking distance of a crappy tire. You don't think about these things when they're right next door, because you don't think, well, they're not going to be right next door. They're going to be an hour away when we move, because, yeah, forward thinking is just, it's not always my strong suit. I try, but it's not always my strong suit. Oh, yeah. I will eventually get one, though. I'm just cheap. Use a stick and get used to being up there. Well, I could for their little ladder, but their balance is not that great either. That is how you get. I'm not even going into that one. Gail, welcome. I get you your wrench here. Solar panels, no moving parts. That is one of the best things about solar panels. Anytime you've got an equipment that has moving parts, you've got more places that something can go terribly wrong. So since there are no moving parts in a solar panel, it's great. However, lecture tone. I live in Manitoba, and therefore I get lots and lots of really short days. Doesn't provide a lot of charging opportunity when you restrict yourself to using a solar panel. So as nice as they are, in the wintertime, they're pretty much useless. It's like my favorite source of renewable energy is hydroelectricity, but unless you live right by a really big river and have rights to use it, you can't really do anything with that because small creeks here in Manitoba, those suckers freeze solid in the wintertime. You are not getting any power at all. Howdy, Mike. Which leaves us with the wind turbine opportunity. So wind and solar and hydro all paired together, I think, are the ultimate off-grid package. But at least wind and solar, because generally around here, when there's no sun, there's probably wind. And when there's no wind, there's probably sun. You're probably sitting on a stale cooker of a day, praying for a breeze to just waft through the trees and change the air that's slow roasting you in your yard. But it's one or the other. So I do think eventually I'm going to have to fork out for that wind turbine. And ultimately, I'm going to want to have something set up for an off-grid situation before we actually do acquire the acreage that I am just kind of constantly pushing towards and mentioning all the time, because manifesting my own reality, right? And yeah, I'm going to want to be able to throw this all in the trailer, take it out there, boom, set it up. I'm slowly generating power because I have a lot of battery charged power tools that I can then make use of around the property, and it all goes, it works out. Robert, an alternator with the blades and tail on top of the tower in the yard. Funny thing about alternators, did you know that with an alternator, a traditional automotive alternator, you actually need a small amount of power to go into that sucker first before it's going to be able to give you power back? Strange thing I learned down a YouTube rabbit hole. Now, if that's incorrect, I would love someone to let me know. But it's my understanding that ultimately that's the difference between an alternator and a generator, is that an alternator needs that extra little bit of power to make it work. Eric, or collecting methane from the compost. Well, see, that's part of the long-term plan, right? I would like to build a larger biodigester that I can put Mr. Sleepy Butt's waste into there and start generating some methane, start using that to power a steam turbine, start, generating some power out of that, generating some heat out of that for the, chicken shed and that kind of a situation. Not inconceivable. I'd like to get larger livestock one day. So heating the barn is going to be a necessity. That's all going to work out. But again, that's farther down the road when I have more room to make highly questionable looking projects. Because we get a lot of neighbors that drive by really, really slow. And I know that most of them don't have a clue what I'm up to, but they really want to come up with their own version of it to share at the center. And sometimes when things get back to me, it's like, wow, I had no idea I was that creative. I was really just cutting down a tree. So yeah, all right, back to the comments, I think. Gail, get lots of wind, but the pro would not install one because he said he was tired of seeing them blown apart. Interesting. You do see that with windmills in like really, really windy areas a lot. What you need there is you need the ones that have the restrictors, the automatic braking systems. So when they get up to a certain speed, they just kind of start to, slow themselves down, because if the blades are going too fast, they can explode. I have seen lots of that on YouTube because, friendly people, you got to check out this video, man. Oh, okay, click. Oh, nasty. That's how it goes. Faked reaction videos. Because of the voltage regulator, maybe he said that it was. Well, yeah, okay. If it's not the blades that are going apart because of engineering issues, then yeah, once it gets cranking too fast for the generator in there, it's creating too much power, and that is going to blow things along the way so it doesn't blow the grids, right? Robert, gotta love it when the RPM exceed the structural integrity. Right? That's what I'm talking about. Which actually, since we're on it, is part of why I have locked up here and somewhere in my 100,000 piles of notes an idea for a wind turbine that I'd like to build that I think would be bloody brilliant, but I need space and some rather expensive equipment. That's for the fly, I hope. Yeah, I need space and some rather expensive equipment to play with those ideas. But I think vertical axis turbines are brilliant. Nothing has to turn other than the blade itself. You got a lot less stress on your motor. I'd like to experiment with magnetic gear exchanges, which seem counterproductive, but I think in the long run would actually be more productive based on some of the design things. It's really hard to explain, and I don't know where my notes are, so I can't show you. And I probably shouldn't put it on a video anyway, because it's somewhat patentable. But I'd rather just put it out there for free if I do figure it out. You guys know, I'm conflicted. The struggle is real. First, I need a 3D printer to see if the idea even works, right? Oh, on an alternator I meant. What did I miss there? Corey, where are you? Because of the voltage regulator on the alternator. Oh, maybe. I don't know. Kind of babbling, kind of tired. Robert, quite intrigued if you find them. I'm really curious. Yeah, well, I'll let you know. I'm pretty good about letting people know when I find these things that intrigue me and get me going. But you know what, guys? It's 7 o'clock, which means
time to make dinner.
That thing on the couch in any minute is going to be getting up, clicking his way over to the food bowl, and making some very high-pitched demands. He doesn't know time for beans, but he can get 7 o'clock within about 10 minutes. So I'm just going to nip that one in the butt, go over there, make his dinner for him. And then maybe steal his stinky couch because I need to flop. My legs are bagged. But you know what? I'm going to say thank you guys so much for joining me. I see 17 people here now, 9 likes. So at least some of you enjoyed the time here. It has been great chatting with everybody. I think this was definitely a much more entertaining idea than trying to come up with some sort of garden video. And I really do need to do it more often because I enjoy the interaction with the chat. So yeah, I'm gonna do that whole peace thing, and I don't know about the live long and prosper. So yeah, I am clicking it. I am out. Thank you guys for joining me. I'm terrible at this whole ending thing. I feel like I should be holding the camera. Blah, 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 blah. So yeah, take care, everybody. I am clicking end.